furnished it with cash. Why? Because we'd saved for it, invested for it, and got to the point we could have it. But it was the funnest year. Funnest, that's not a good word, but it was the most fun years of our life, working towards together, getting to that point when we could finally have enough for our needs. I loaned the phrase to the church, having sufficient for your needs. They use that now in the temple all the time. I told them how to use that. That's a joke, okay. So anyway, bottom line is, this is a journey. You don't have to do this in 11 years. You don't have to do it in 20 years. It's a journey. But there's such a fun journey. When you identify finally what you really want to become, and then you set a plan to go get it, and you begin to close that gap on how to live that kind of a principle, and learn how to become temporally self-reliance, or learn how to become anything, learn how to be a leader, learn how to be any principle you want to live, become like God, whatever. There's tremendous growth, and your self-esteem goes up. Why? Because you're producing. And when you're producing, because you're taking control of those events of your life. Any questions? We got 2 minutes. Any questions? Anybody got anything about what is said? Anything about anything? This is the last one. We're done tonight. This is finished. Last class. No questions, please. Comment? You know why it sounds like him? I robbed it from him. Okay? You know why it sounds like Stephen Covey? I robbed it from him. You know why it sounds like George Clayson? I robbed it from him. I mean, copy. Learn, quick to observe. That's how Mormon became a great leader. He copied everybody that he saw around him and learned from it. You want to learn to communicate? Copy Dieter Uchtdorf. Dang it, do it. That's President Kimball, isn't it? Do it, dang it. Any other questions, comments? Please. Invest? That's a question that absolutely I can't answer. This is why. Great question. Great question. But you know what? The minute I tell you how to do it, it'll be wrong. Because it won't be your oil. It won't be your niche. It won't be what you're good at. You got to find your oil. You got to read the right books. You got to see the right people. You got to watch how other people do it. I made mine mostly in real estate. My kids are doing the same thing today. I wish I could have done it in the stock market, but I have a little money there, but I'm not very smart. So I didn't learn how to do that in the stock market like some people did, and they made billions. And I haven't made billions, but I made sufficient for my needs, and I've done it in an area where I felt some confidence. But everybody has to identify and find out where you're going to spend your time on your investments and how you're going to do it, and find ways by reading the right books, talking to the right people, mentoring the right folks, going to school, whatever it takes, and you will find some areas where you think you can be successful. And then you'll fail half the time. But if you fail half the time, and the times you don't fail, you win more than when you failed, you still get ahead and win. Because if you're going to be an investor, you're going to make mistakes. So be careful, be diverse, spread it around a little bit, learn how to do it in some of maybe a niche you got. And in the end, you'll find that the winners will outweigh the losers. If you spend your time researching and doing your homework, you'll find that you win more than you lose. And that's all you got to do. Question? Let's talk loud because I'm half deaf. That's why he's on top. That's why he's number one. See, he's got it. Number 8's where we're talking about now. Number 8. But, it's important to me, but not near as important. is you and my family and my God. Not near as important. It doesn't rank at all. If I had to sacrifice one of those 8, it'd be number 8. I don't want to sacrifice number 8, so I got to get good at it, and I got to find a way to do it all. Organize my time, take control of my minutes of my day, have a plan, execute the plan, work the plan, spend the time, get up early, work hard, get my education, find my oil, make my mark, and go make it work. And then at the same time, do it with the right intent to help other people and build the kingdom. One last question. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, what would you use that title?
What I've used the title? I just hoped it would intrigue you enough you'd come to class. Moses on the mountain and money, huh? I've talked about money and I've thought about Moses, and you came, so it must have worked. It's a joke. Yeah, one last comment. You know, that's a great question. I work in overtime on that. I have opened an independence account for all 40 of my children, my grandchildren. I have every grandchild has an independence account. I encourage them, and we as a family are putting a little bit of money in every one of those every month. Just a little bit. We don't have, you have 40 grandkids and 8 kids. You can't put a lot in. But if I put in $1, I want them to match it. I want them to put $1 in. So whatever we do, I'm to encourage them to match it from their work. And so they learn early, because boy, the compound interest is the most incredible piece of news on the planet. If you can get a kid to start investing his money at 10% somewhere at the age of 8, when he's my age or she's my age, it multiplies. If you do it, if you keep investing that money at the 10, 12%, it becomes millions. At only a couple $100 a month or even a year. It just put it away and compound that interest for those many years. But if you start at 60 to do it, it takes 7 or 8 years to double it. So if you're 60 to do it, at 68, you're just barely doubling. If you do it when you're 6, 13, 20, 27, 34, 44, 51, 58, 65, 72, 79, 86, 93. You now, what's that, 15 times? If you've invested $300,000, you've done it 15 times, you got $4.5 million in there. Pardon? And that's what, and you can't touch it. They can't. That's the rule. Now they might do it. When I'm dead, they might do it. But right now the rule is you can't touch it. You got to invest it. Well, then the mom and dad's got to help, haven't they? Mom and dad have got to help. Those accounts, see, I found a bank that will let me open a custodial account for anybody underage in my family, and it'll still be in their name. They'll have control of it, but it has no service charge. So there's no service charge. So they can put money in and add to it, and the bank doesn't charge them any money, because we're a customer of the bank, and we're a good customer of the bank, so they give us the right to add a custodial account to have these 40 grandkids have accounts if they need it. Some of the parents already have set up E-Trade accounts and investment accounts. So that's their independence account. Those that haven't got that, then I help them get started. This is going overboard just too long. You guys okay? That video was probably written me off an hour ago. Anyway, it's so nice to be with you. Final comment. How many? Can you be one of your grandchildren? You want to be adopted? You're in. Okay, you're in. Oh dear. You came back. So nice of you to come back. Well, it's I'm telling you, man, is it's sure fun to start to teach good principles to good kids and see if they won't catch on, that they can really learn from this. The three of my grandkids live on a farm, and they raise a beef every year or two, and then every fall they have the county fair, and they have the sale that they can sell it, and bidders come and bid on these for these kids. And my two of my grandkids that are one's only 8 and one's 12, they got $6,000 for their beef this year. I mean, $6,000, that's a lot of money. And they're only 8-year-old. And they asked me what to do, and I sat down, we had a conversation, and we opened up, and we had something in the business that was going to be sold. They were going to sell some shares by a partner who was going to sell out cheap. And so my kids, all of us that wanted to, and all the kids that wanted to, got to buy a few shares of that stock that's probably worth 50% more than what we paid for it. And it's generating about a 10% return. Well, now if that kid puts $6,000 in there at 10%, that is worth $9,000 to start with. Think about that at 8 years old. Now what if they raised another beef next year and put $6,000 back in the same deal again, and plus the 10% they made on the $6,000 this year, that's another $600. So now you got $12,600 in a 10% investment. I mean, you've doubled it in 1 year. Not 7 years, you doubled it in 1 year. Now let that compound at 10% and it's millions. It's millions. You start early. We quit, okay? Pardon, last one. Now say that again. When did we what? That's up to them. That's up to them. But I hope they go to work and earn enough to eat with the rest of their life and keep investing in their independence account. And then they help their grandkids and their children. And they all become, eventually the kid catches on. It's so fun to do this. This is not work. This is fun.
I've got one question. Is that note in your pocket?
This note here. Who would like this? That's my first million.
That's awesome.
I'm willing to auction that off today for half price. Yeah. I can't do this in the temple because we don't launder money in the temple. Anyway, one of my missionaries gave us 4,000 of these when we went to our last mission, and it was kind of our business card. It's got our information on the back, and I would use it to go in, and I'd go in the store and I'd use it to pay with, and they'd look at it, and then they'd finally figure out, and they'd laugh, but to give me a chance to introduce who we were and what we were doing there in Washington, D.C. And one day I went into Costco. Do you have Costco here? I went into Costco one day, and I used it for my business card. I had owed them $100, and I gave it to her, and I said, I'd like to pay with this. And she looked at it, and she says, I don't have enough change for that. And I said, just give me what you got, and you can keep the rest. She finally caught on. It was junk. But I thought to myself, that girl's running a cash register. If she worked for me, she'd be stocking shelves, man. Anyway, anybody want to buy that? Would you like to have that for your memoirs? Put that on the shelf, and someday it'll be worth something. Okay. I had somebody who asked me for. I got to get rid of these 2 books. I had someone who asked me for one of these. Did you? Were you in the room anywhere? I got one more book to auction off. You could. Who would promise me to read it and send me a note? Okay, she was the first hand up, so you get it. Okay, you come and get it when it's through. I don't want to carry it home. I told everybody I've never sold one of my books in my life because I don't want to have anybody ever come and say to me, I want my money back. So anyway, but it's okay. Thanks for coming. This has been a great hour with you. I appreciate being here. We've gone over time. I apologize. Would you forgive me? Okay. Merry Christmas. You want to
out on the grass area, so we want to make it as a.
Super, super. That's great.
Out of that grass area.
If anybody wants to make a copy of this, come up and make a copy of it, photograph, and go from there.